thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy, and I do appreciate it. I just wanted to let you know.
No problem.
How are you feeling today?
Very good.
It's my very first time here, and I'm very excited. And at first, I didn't even think I'm gonna shoot a video, but then I saw you, and I realized I want to keep this like in my video notebook.
Okay.
And I have a very standard question. Would you please introduce yourself as you feel this morning? You can say like what you do here, or maybe you wanna like express yourself a little different. So it's all up to your inner feeling this morning.
Okay. It's a beautiful day. It's snowing outside. I am a winter person, so I really like snow, and it's very quiet and very peaceful. And I am a Buddhist nun, as you know, right? And I am very happy serving the community and living right here in Dharma Drum Retreat Center. It's a beautiful environment, nature. We have over 87 acres, and only maybe about less than 20% of the land is actually buildings. The rest is allowed to be natural.
So as I'm talking to you, is it okay if I call you Fashi?
Sure.
That's totally fine, right?
Okay.
So my second question is this. Today you have so many visitors, and I know you're busy tomorrow. You're going to be training, you're going to be teaching, let's say. So when you do not have visitors, when it's only you and maybe other monks and it's pretty quiet here, what is your regular day like? When do you start your day? And what is the routine like very special for you? And what do you do especially before you go to bed? That is very important. Like some maybe rituals you can share with us. So because you know we live in a very big city, and sometimes I have trouble falling asleep, and I was wondering maybe you have some advice or anything you'd like to share about that.
Okay. It's not visitors, by the way. Right now, as we have a weekend retreat, it's called Stillness in Motion. And so these are not visitors, but they're actually participants. Yeah. And what we do normally in just a regular day without programs is that we wake up early in the morning. Now, in a monastery schedule, is we're up at 4 o'clock in the morning, which is also our retreat schedule. Now, our intensive retreat schedules, retreatants are expected to be up at 4 a.m. Right? So we're up at 4 and we start our day with doing the 8 forms moving meditation, because after sleeping, you know, you want to do some stretches and gentle stretches and stuff. So we do it in a way that is helping us to also continue to develop that mindfulness. And after we finish the 8 forms moving meditation, we sit in meditation for about an hour or so. Then we start with our morning prayers, which we call the morning service, right? And the purpose of doing that is also to remind us of our practice and our bodhisattva vow of service to all sentient beings around us. So that's what we do. And then we go about our usual day with, you know, different, depending on what your job assignment is. So in my case here is a lot of my work is connected with global issues and the United Nations, and also teaching global citizenship workshops. So I have to package Buddhism in a way that is quite different from how it's traditionally taught in monasteries. So I have to use a very simple, ordinary, everyday language to present that. So the UN work that I do is that we try to provide a nonviolent but compassionate approach to support the movement that is happening around the world right now, which is, you know, we're at a crossroads, as we have seen now. There's things, institutions and systems that are collapsing because it's just not working anymore. People are seeing climate change issues and stuff, and it creates anxiety, but they know something's not working. But there are movement happening in the world right now as they're trying to change, right? So we want to also support that change by providing a nonviolent and a more compassionate way of doing it. So that's the work that I do throughout the day. Then in the evening, of course, we try to wrap up our days, which is a little bit difficult sometimes, but we try to wrap up our days maybe at 9 o'clock or something, where in a monastery we would sit in meditation. Right after we sit in meditation, we do a whole body massage at the end, because when we're sitting, when we're working, when we're thinking, there's a lot of tension in our bodies, right? So we sit in meditation is because it helps us relax again, and it helps us slow down our brains. When I say brains, it's the thinking brain here, because we have to do work, we think a lot, we have to plan a lot, we interact with people. So, there's a lot of brain activities. So meditation helps us calm down and slow down. Then we continue to do massage, a whole body massage that actually helps us relax. So it releases the knots and stuff, and it gets our energy kind of moving around in the body again. And then we retire for the night at 10 o'clock. So that's kind of like what a day would be like in a monastery.
But that's a long day. If you get up at 4 and there's a lot of work, and then you're falling asleep or you're going to bed at 10. And as you speak, I remember that sometimes when I cannot fall asleep, that's exactly what I experience. My body is tired, but brain is still functioning. It's processing what had happened during the day. So when you're saying about meditation, I think for beginners like me, if we do not know how to meditate, but we can at least try to relax our body as much as we can. And I think we're just, to me, what works, I'm just trying to focus on something positive. I remember something good during the day, and little by little it helps me to relax and fall asleep finally. So this is my interesting way of meditation.
Yes. I see.
Yeah.
Right, but meditation actually helps your brain activity slow down, right? It's not saying that we are trying to stop thoughts.
Yeah.
It cannot happen.
Right.
As long as we're alive, there's synaptic activities in our brain that we naturally will think. But as we're not, there's kind of two aspects to that, okay? So our brain gives us knowledge and skills to carry out things, right? It helps us get things done, right? But there's also another part of the brain that that we are very addicted to, okay? It tells us a lot of stories. It tells us perception based on our previous experiences or whatever worldview that we have developed. And it justifies various things that when things don't go your way, you're not feeling very good, you start justifying, right? So how do we justify it? Typically, though, doesn't mean this applies to everyone, but typically our normal responses is we like victimhood. We villainize, the other person or the other party that is in our way.
Yes.
That is an obstacle, or maybe it's a challenge that irritates me, right? And you villainize that and you victimize yourself. So you're excusing your reaction.
Yes.
Right? You're giving a lot of excuses. You're justifying your reactions while villainizing and belittling the other person. So that is the part of the brain that what we call the scattered thoughts. You spend a lot of time worrying and worrying and worrying and worrying. So, for instance, let's see. So it's snowing, and then I'm going, oh, I'm worrying. So I don't know. Maybe the retreatants might find it too cold, or maybe I need to shovel, and then, oh, maybe they'll think like, oh, it shouldn't be snowing. It should be like a beautiful sunny day. It should not be snowing. And this is just, making it very difficult for participants to experience stillness in motion, right? Because it's snowing and it's just cold. You see, all these are unnecessary worrying. It's not going to solve anything because it snowed and it's still snowing. So whatever is going to come will come, and you just do what you need to do. So if it snows, then let's appreciate the snow. Now, if it's sunny, then let's appreciate the sun, right? Instead of all these incessant worrying, oh, is it going to work? Is it going to work? no, this is disastrous. No, we have to, then I'm anticipating, oh, you've got so many people coming in and saying, oh, the food is not good, or the food is just so good that I'm eating so much and that I can't sit because all my blood is in my stomach there trying to digest all this delicious food, and I'm drowsy in the Chan hall, if not working. And you go, oh no, so we have to make sure the food is like not too good, but it's not so bad. All these worrying. I mean, it will be what it will be, right? So you just do what you need to do. So all these worrying, though, is the part that keeps us agitated. You can't sleep at night because you're thinking about the past, how to correct the past, and you're worrying about the future.
That hasn't happened yet.
Right, and the past is gone. You can't change it.
Gone.
So, but you spend a lot of energy in that part of that brain. So that part of the brain is what it's doing is it's judging. Right? It's judging and it's telling you what you did wrong. And then when you did wrong, you don't feel good. You start going into the process of victimhood again, villainizing whoever is just not there to say, I don't have enough time. Right? I don't have this person is not helpful. It didn't come and support me. So I have to struggle to do this myself. So, and I can't do this by myself. I don't have that energy and I don't know how to do it. You see, you're giving excuses for your own helplessness.
Looks that way.
Right. Then you can't, how could you sleep? Because you're constantly in a state of anxiety. But it's not only your problem, because this is what we have been conditioned to do. In our society, we've been conditioned to do this very naturally.
What you're describing is just reminds me before meeting Frank and marrying him, because I've heard so much about this place and he keeps telling me what to do and how meditation is important, and Frank brought me here. So what you just described, it was me even 2 years ago. Now I feel a little better. I have like more calmness here. Still I have a lot of things to work on, but partially you have answered to my question, and I cannot not to ask this question, because I'm Ukrainian, and you know that we are in a active war for 2 years, almost 2 years by now, and at this point I realized that, like you said, there is past we cannot change, there is futures that hasn't come yet, and there is something that I can do right now at this particular moment. Help me, help someone next to me. And again, when you were saying about perception, that it snows and I cannot change that, but it's really hard to accept for people that are living in Ukraine like right now. So my question is, maybe there is something that I can advise, or helping with your help, that I can advise. Maybe there is there you cannot find the proper word, but because there is no explanation for the word, there is no acceptance for the word. But I would like for people to know maybe where to reach out, where to ask for help when they need that support for themselves, because in this horrible war that is happening, you have to keep your mental health and physical health, and at the same time help those who are next to you. So maybe there is something that you can advise. I don't know, maybe it will sound not right. I don't think you can read a book and you can overcome through all these difficulties, but I'm sure there is something that you can advise. If it's a book, if it's a saying, or maybe I cannot even find the right suggestion, but you understand what I'm trying to say, and it's really hard to find the words.
I work with a lot of young activists around the world that is working on environmental issues and stuff. So when they're doing that, the typical thing they do is they will go like, governments, you're not doing enough, or that they'll say, corporations, you're like screwing up our world and stuff like that. Sure. So you need to change your behavior and stuff. When you start villainizing other people and you start pointing out a lot of things about the other people or the other institutions, what's going to happen though? The people, these institutions or these corporations and these government, whenever you attack someone, right, even when you think that you're right, it's polarizing already by nature. right?
Yes.
Because it makes you right and the other person wrong, or the other party wrong. And when you do that, the other party is, when they feel they're wronged, they don't feel good. Now, if they don't feel good, it's very natural for them to defend themselves.
Sure.
Right? And then they will defend themselves, and they have a lot of resources more than you do as the youth activists, right? You're not going to win. So what my advice to the youth activists is, why are you giving life to an institution? It's just an institution, right? Why do you think that they are the demons? Because it's only an institution. It's a system, right? You should try to approach the people behind the institution. Reach out to their humanity. See them as human beings too, and not just as a thing that is in my way, that is challenging my lifestyle, that's challenging my worldview, and things like that. Don't view it as that, because when you view it as that, right, as an object, that is, you're viewing that person as an object, right? Then very naturally what you will do is, you are challenging my objectives. You're preventing me from fulfilling my objective, and I'm going to try to find a way to get rid of you, right? Be it belittling you, be it taking measures to really literally try to get rid of them, right? So violence begets violence, right? It's just what Gandhi said, violence begets violence. So I tell the young activists, reach out to the people behind the institutions, reach out to their humanity, listen. Then they may tell you another way of doing what you're doing, that they can also support what you're doing. Because you think those corporations, those CEOs, do they not know what is happening with the world right
Of course
now?
they do.
They do. But you see, we think that they're very, very powerful because they're head of an organization, right? But they say that, there's a conference that I've been, and one of the CEOs say, no, it's not true. The extent of our power is, as long as it's to the point of, our objective is to perpetuate the system, to perpetuate the company, right? So if we try to do anything, if we want to do any changes, and it seems like it's threatening this goal, I tell you, the shareholders and the board of directors will get rid of me very quickly, because I am not fulfilling what I'm paid to do.
So it's not the CEO you should talk to.
Right. So I tell the young people then, talk to the human being behind the CEO. Don't just look at the CEO. Don't just look at the corporation and say, like, you need to change. So what the CEO said, as a human being, he says, I worry for my children too, right? I worry for my grandchildren too.
Sure.
And I want to do things to support this change, but my authority is only to that extent. So what you could do is, what he was telling the young people is, let as many people know as possible, write letters to me, right? And write it in this way, and say that, I'm very supportive of your brand, right? It's doing a lot of very, very, like, the products are really good, but I'm going to stop buying from your brand, because unless, you try to make some of these changes for, let's say, wage equality, gender equality, or, certain things that you need to make these changes, then I'll continue to, purchase your brand, because I know you make great products. He says, if you give me enough of these letters, I could take it to my board of directors. I could show it to my shareholders and tell, hey, our customers are asking for this. Then he has more support that he could try to bring about change that he wanted to, that he couldn't. You see, so talk to the human being behind that. So even though, like, war is a terrible thing, it's a terrible, terrible thing, and it brings about a lot of broken homes, and the whole world is affected. It's not just, between two countries. Our world is so connected right now that whatever is happening between Russia and Ukraine is affecting the entire world, right? And it's also part of a larger kind of like an energy that is going around the world. You have seen what is happening right now with the with Israel and the Hamas.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like igniting a lot of these tension that was already there. It's just a catalyst. That is take it as also a warning. It's like the sacrifices that these people made, right, is a warning to humanity. We can't continue life as business as usual anymore. Because what is our current system? Our current system is treating life on this planet as a commodity, including human beings too. It's not just other life, right? They don't even look at nature as nature. They look at them as, oh, it's this like, oh, right now I'm a winter person. Snow, oh, that's great. But if I'm not a winter person, snow is bad. So I would not come for, a retreat during winter or something. But I'm just treating it as an object, right? Whereas, they have every right to be here. The condition is right for it to snow, it snows, right? So it's, the problem is our current system is we're looking at everything like it's a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it a commodity? A commodity to fulfill my own needs, my objectives. Mm-hmm. So it's maximization of my objectives. But in this world, that's not true. We're not isolated, right? We're not separate. We're all interconnected,
yes,
right? But we fail to see it, and we are actually literally bringing ourselves and a lot of other species on this planet to the edge of extinction if we don't change this. So how do you reach out to people that are suffering like that? Right now is think about what you could do. You're physically in the US, right? Maybe find out organizations that could support, find out ways that they can find ways to deal with these kinds of trauma, or to get resources, right? And let those people know. But also let them know is, instead of hating the people that came, it's very hard though. It's really, really very hard because it's human life, right? And it's your life. But instead of just hating that, is sending out love. If you send out love, sometimes miracles happen, things change.
As I see this, is I would prefer to focus on what I can do instead of just growing this anger in me and hating them every day. It doesn't help me. It doesn't help people that are there. And it's just a way to nowhere. Like you said, violence creates violence. But when you were talking about we need to see a human behind every corporate person or every governmental representative that comes, that kind of gave me a lot of ideas and thinking that I need to process. But I would like to say that I heard you. I need some time to process everything and wrap it into, because I'm trying to find the right words, even there are no right words, because I know it hurts people that lost their families. You cannot just ask questions as it goes in your mind. But I did hear you, and I heard my answers, and I did. And I guess these 2 days I'll be just walking, like you said, still motion. Yulia is going to be in a still motion around at the retreat center. So thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
And I am happy to meet you here. And thank you, friend, for bringing me up here. Even I was freaking out in the very beginning, but that's just the nature of me. And I think when you see something different or different lifestyle, your body's kind of, wait. I did not get used to this. Wait a minute. Like you said, we see something different and we just protest it. No. My way is different. So it's something I'm working on. So
that's an openness. It's allowing things to happen, right? Instead of trying to control or plan how this thing is going to unfold. Is sometimes this kind of surrender, though, it's what we would say kind of not surrendering in a sense of pessimistic surrender, but it's surrendering in the sense that it is allowing for new emergence. Instead of what is comfortable and what is you're allowing for, the beauty of life to unveil it, to reveal itself to you.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Because life is amazing. So even like, here in the woods, I encounter all kinds of animals, right? And so I have these beautiful stags with great big huge antlers and stuff, or I've encountered bears, mama bear and baby bears. So the first thing people always ask me when I share with them the photos, are you not afraid of them? And I'm going, why should I be afraid of that? I'm just allowing. So the causes and conditions were that I just walked into them, or we just encountered each
Yes.
other, right?
Yes.
So instead of going like, oh, my comfort zone, I'm a human being, you know, these are supposed to be behind a cage or something in a zoo. But instead of that, and go like, we just allow. This is the causes and conditions. This is the present moment. We appreciate each other. The animals are doing exactly the same thing too. They're
Yes.
just appreciating you.
Yes.
So not only even animals, sometimes even with trees and plants, it's the same thing, right? Even with a piece of rock, it's an amazing thing, a piece of rock. It witnessed so many things over hundreds of years. And you're part of your energy will be stored in the memory of the rock,
Yeah.
right?
Agree.
And the rock could also share with you a lot of things that it has witnessed.
That's a totally different perception
Yeah.
of everything around you. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Frank,
you.
for recording patiently. Thank you so much for
Thank
this
you.
time. I wish you all the best. And I'm a winter person too. I was dying for the snow. I was like, please, I want the snow, because it's been 6 or 7 years since I haven't seen the snow. So yeah, that's why if you see me jumping around, I'm just...
Yeah, you can go rolling too. It's
I'm gonna
fine.
go with Frank right now. Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Хочу сказати декілька слів про розмову, яку ви щойно переглянули. Я її саме так називаю. Це було таке наше спілкування, записане на відео, звичайно, із згоди Фаши. І я скоріше хочу пояснити, чому я себе поводила так, як поводила на тому відео. Скажу чесно, я навіть не планувала нічого записувати, це було абсолютно незаплановане спілкування, але Фаши була єдина, до якої зверталася з питаннями з приводу буддизму, і взагалі, перебуваючи в цьому ретрит-центрі, в мене було дуже багато запитань, як до релігії, як до того, що там відбувається. І, скоріше за все, я дивилась на все як людина з аналітичним мозком. Тобто я не могла просто розслабитися, насолоджуватися часом, природою. І хотілося б сказати пару слів про те, що я взагалі там робила, як так сталося, що ми туди потрапили. Насправді, цей монастир, він досить відомий, і його походження тайванське, він дуже популярний серед азіатського населення, скажімо так. Мій чоловік там був зі мною вже 5-й раз. І для нас це скоріше не такий релігійний ретрит, де ми дуже багато молимося, медитуємо, спілкуємося з Богом. Для нас це така можливість поїхати на природу, адже там просто гектари лісу, недоторканної природи, вільно гуляють тварини. Ми особисто щодня спостерігали таку олені ген, або їх там, по-моєму, ми нарахували 11 було, таких середнього розміру, невеличкі вони, мабуть, ще маленькі оленята. І ми боялися, тому що, може, десь тут є їх галабарі, але вони зовсім не бояться людей. Ну, таке, звичайно, вони не підходять дуже близько, але все одно. І там є озеро, є річка, сніг, якого я не бачила просто дуже багато років для нас. Це була така можливість поїхати на природу, але цікавим моментом було те, що саме цей ретрит, на який ми приїхали, там навчали медитації. Тому мені, звичайно, знань не вистачило, тому що було дуже багато тем, котрі не стосуються медитації, і розклад він не був таким досить інтенсивним, тому більше часу ми просто займали самі себе, як могли. Ось, і ні я, ні мій чоловік, Чамалабейк, ми не є буддистами абсолютно. І що я хочу вам сказати? Давайте по порядку, мабуть. Перше питання, з яким я звернулася до Фаши, було: представте себе, будь ласка. Чому я задаю ці питання людям? Ви знаєте, дуже часто люди настільки входять в образ, який вони демонструють людям на своїй роботі, і що вони вже просто забувають, хто вони є насправді. Я менеджер, там, я супервайзер, я там керівник такий-то, чи я там вчитель, я співак, я артист. І в мене завжди є питання, а хто ти? Хто ти? Я нас зараз не запитую про те, як ти заробляєш гроші. Я запитую, хто ти, як ти себе бачиш взагалі у цьому світі. Це, знаєте, дуже цікаво, як люди так трохи, знаєте, ніяковіють, типу, вони вже ж були готові поділитися такими регаліями, там, я там то-то, в мене 325 там дипломів і так далі. Коли ти їх запитуєш, ну, розкажи мені про себе. Я знаю, що таке менеджер в такій-то корпорації, я розумію, які його обов'язки, а хто ти? Хто сидить переді мною? Звичайно, мої питання були з приводу буддизму і як буддизм трактує ті чи інші події. І запитуючи Фаши з самого початку, як ви себе сьогодні хотіли би представити, вона, звичайно, зосередила свою увагу на тому, що вона є монахиня, що вона намагається донести якісь основи буддизму таким простим, звичайним способом, з простішою мовою для нас. І, звичайно, я хотіла уточнити, як же буддизм бачить війну, як українець, котрий знаходиться в стані такого стресу, котрий живе на окупованих територіях або живе на тих територіях, котрі постійно бомблять, як взагалі йому знайти якесь заспокоєння ось тут. І в чому шукати підтримку. Коли я казала про книжку, я хотіла почути якусь пораду. І ви знаєте, мені так важко було підібрати слова, бо ти ж не можеш написати своїм друзям чи родичам в Україні, сказати, слухай, мені тут монахиня в нью-йоркських лісах порекомендувала оцю от книжку, прочитай, і в тебе все буде кльово, і ти забудеш про Путіна, там і взагалі про всі свої переживання і проблеми. Я ось це хотіла і донести. Але дуже часто якісь, знаєте, вислови, чи навіть ті самі книги про, я не знаю, елементарно про природу, там, я не знаю, про походження буддизму, можливо, вони зможуть якось відволікти людей, трактувати все це, що відбувається по-іншому, і якось, звичайно, війну не можна пояснити. Бачите, навіть зараз я не можу адекватно сформулювати свою думку, бо війні немає пояснення, війні немає прийняття. Але я думаю, ви теж помітили, що Фаши навіть під час розмови, вона поводить себе дуже впевнено, вона знає, про що вона розповідає. Це людина неймовірної ерудиції, розмовляє на декількох мовах, причому вільно, і вона так переходить з мови на мову абсолютно без акценту. Тому, власне, я хотіла з нею поспілкуватися. І зараз ми з вами підійшли до того моменту, чому протягом всього відео ви побачите тільки одну нарізку. Ви бачите, навіть сьогодні я не вирізаю, не видаляю, там, де в мене заплутується язик і так далі. Справа в тому, що в нас почався період сезонної алергії, все цвіте, квіти, дерева, все прокидається після зими, ну а мій організм реагує ось так, ну самі знаєте, весняна алергія. От мені важко говорити, але це терпимо. Так от, Тайвань на сьогоднішній день, сьогодні в нас, боже, навіть не знаю, яке число, 29 лютого 24 року, Тайвань є незалежна окрема країна. І хоча Китай досі посягає, претендує на цю територію, дуже багато тайванців вважають себе взагалі окремим ледь не народом, і вони кажуть, що ми з тими китайцями, котрі живуть в самому Китаї, не маємо нічого спільного. Ну, це спірна ситуація, і у мене на це є своя думка, але я вам просто пояснюю такі настрої, да, суспільні. Так от, Китай, Тайвань, Гонконг, окрім Японії. Японія дуже сильно підтримує Україну. Там дуже багато зараз таких пропагандистських думок про те, що Путіна справді примусили, ледь не примусили, винудили, як це сказати українською, напасти на Україну, щоб захистити себе і так далі. Оця вся історія. Тобто шукають виправдання всім цим подіям. І початок відповіді Фаши на це питання, вона попросила мене вирізати. І я, звичайно, їй пообіцяла, що я так зроблю. З багатьох причин. По-перше, я не маю мети. Я не маю на меті когось перевчити, когось виставити в поганому світлі, комусь нашкодити в роботі, в кар'єрі, в житті. Я просто хотіла показати оцю частину нашого суспільства, отаку, котра називається люди релігійні, люди духовні, люди, які постійно щось вивчають, медитують. І вони зовсім відрізняються від нас, капіталістів, скажімо так. Хоча це теж окрема тема, я все розумію, в це не будемо вдаватися, ми зараз говоримо про ідеальну картинку, так? І я просто що хочу вам сказати. Я, звичайно, не буду говорити про те, що сказали мені Фаши, але ви розумієте, перша її реакція на моє питання була реакція людини, яка має свою думку, незалежно від того, яку посаду вона займає. От так мені Фаши і відповіла. А потім вона, правда, спам'яталася, глянула на Франка, який знімав цю нашу розмову, і сказала: ну ви ж це виріжете, правда? Мені здається, що по мені видно, наскільки я була не в собі, і наскільки мене це просто тут зсередини все спалювало, але знову ж таки, я не приїхала туди нікого ні в чому переконувати і нікому нічого пояснювати. Мені хотілося почути справжню думку, але людина вирішила, що це нашкодить їй, нашкодить її професію. Я вам скажу так, навіть якби вона висловила підтримку України, я би все одно не показала. Я би все одно не показала, якби мене Фаши попросила це вирізати. Тому що вони стараються не приймати ніяку сторону. От. І на цьому моя мінімальна зацікавленість до буддизму, звичайно, закінчилася. Єдине, що я абсолютно погоджуюся з Фаши, і я стараюся так жити з першого дня повномасштабної війни. Я намагаюся бути корисною собі сьогодні, в цей день, в цей момент. Я дивлюся, що я можу зробити, чим можу допомогти ближньому біля себе, чи елементарно, якщо я десь подорожую і бачу українців, котрі десь розгубилися, загубилися, якісь у них складнощі виникають, я завжди привітаюся, підійду і запитаю. І, мабуть, це єдине таке для мене правильне рішення, як пережити це все і як зберегти свій здоровий глузд і здорове тіло, адже нам всім ще потрібно буде відбудовувати Україну, як ви знаєте. Буду дуже рада, якщо ви поділитеся своїми думками в коментарях, будь ласка. Ні в чому себе не обмежуйте, діліться порадами. І знову ж таки, я абсолютно не претендую на роль журналіста чи політичного журналіста. Я так спілкуюся, в принципі, завжди. Єдине, що в той день це був сніданок, я ще не поснідала, а коли я не поснідала, то вам краще зі мною не бути знайомим. От. І я старалась так якось триматися, хоча справді просто мені хотілося поснідати. От. Мабуть, після обіду я виглядаю і жартую трохи інакше. От. Слідуюче відео, яке я запущу, яке я вже зараз домонтовую, буде про те, як ми збиралися у цей монастир, як там наш час пройшов, Багато я не знімала, але так якісь уривочки можна подивитися, переглянути, тому, будь ласка, приєднуйтеся. І, як завжди, якщо вам щось сподобалось чи не сподобалось, будь ласка, діліться, мені це все буде цікаво. І надіюсь, я пояснила і донесла свою думку з приводу того, чому наша розмова виглядала так, як виглядала.